Welcome to another episode of Rambling Through Everyday Life with Fran and Angela. My name is Fran, and I am one of the co-hosts for this podcast. We hope that with each and every episode, you will find us talking about Jesus in our everyday lives, while also laughing about the ridiculous and the fun that make up our everyday lives. But isn't Jesus in the middle of it all anyway? We are always looking for Him in our everyday lives, and we want the same for you. In this week's show, we talk about finding our way back into life from the summer, new schedules being established, navigating a new podcast season, and a social media break we experienced during the month of July. What in the world have we learned about ourselves, and what is the Lord teaching us right now? Sit back and enjoy the conversation, everyone. We're so glad you're here. Well, everyone, this is a new day.
A new season.
A new season, literally.
A new month.
A new everything.
Happy everything.
Happy everything, everyone. I think that's on a plate. Isn't that a plate?
Oh, yeah. It's on my calendar, on my wall from Hattie's.
It is called Happy Everything?
It is a brand.
It's a whole brand.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even realize.
Yeah.
Happy Everything.
If we had confetti, we'd throw it around the studio.
Well, if you're here in the South, school has started, routines are being established. Summer is in the rearview mirror.
We have successfully co-parented Kaylee Snyder and moved her into grad school apartment living this weekend.
Sure did.
Thank you, Fran.
Well,
Fran to the rescue.
Kaylee is doing big things.
One perk of Fran moving housing herself multiple times is that Fran is an expert Joanna Gaines style decorator, and I honestly did not know that. I just knew I needed Fran as my emotional support person this weekend in Nashville, and Fran has decorated at some point, we'll have to find a picture of Kaylee in her cute little condo.
Well, here's also what's funny is that I quickly picked up on the fact that Kaylee and Angela, we were in a TJ Maxx home goods combined store
in Brentwood.
And
the Disney World of home goods shopping.
And I could tell that it wasn't going to take much for them to be sidetracked.
I was looking for jelly beans.
Yeah. And I'm over here like, okay, we're going to get this. We're getting this. What do you think about this table? Let's do this. These pillows are great. And
within 7.5 minutes, Fran was in the checkout line and we had purchased
a lot.
12 things on the list. And we had the furniture boys loading it up, waiting on the sidewalk. So thank you, Fran.
Go us. Go everybody. Here's what's also great is that I love August because we have said this before. I think there's a lot of us that we operate on an academic calendar as well as a new year calendar.
I definitely need the month of July to turn my brain off. Mm-hmm. And then when August rolls around, I'm ready to crank it up. Yeah. I'm ready to get my new pens and my new paper and my new structure. I need the structure.
Yeah, start afresh.
I'm exhausted and I need to kill the structure for July and some of June. It takes me a minute to decompress, but I'm ready. We are ready.
We're ready. And
y'all get ready.
Y'all get ready because I think we realized this last year in season 5, and I don't know that you all would pick up on any of it, but I think that part of and some of this of what I'm about to say is when you've done something for 5 years, there is a period, the infamous fork in the road where you're making a decision because you recognize, okay, this is work. It's like it's still fun for us. So it's not like it's lost its fun, but I think you're asking yourself, why do we do this? What's the purpose of this?
Are we serving you well?
Are we serving you well? Are we giving you good content? Because we don't want to waste our time. We don't want to waste your time. And so at the end of last season, I think there was just some sort of blah, because I don't have the word.
I think we just needed a reset of we in our lives, and there are so many fresh, new, beautiful things about to begin, and we were just kind of in that transition with a lot of other things. So we went totally dark this summer.
Yeah,
we got off social media. We intentionally paused and rested and prayed and Hired an intern.
Hired us some help to keep us focused so that we're serving you well. And
Focused
rambling, but not losing sight of who we are and what we're good at, but the things that matter. We want to be more intentional and make sure that we're giving you deep, rich content, but also not being afraid to be ridiculous when we need to be ridiculous.
That is a guarantee.
Yeah.
If you had seen us this weekend,
yeah,
that is a guarantee.
Yeah. So welcome to season 6.
Our best season yet.
Our best season yet.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's fun to be here. And it's just wild that, like I said, kids are in school and all those things are happening. Okay. So one thing that we found ourselves telling, shout out Madison Griffin, our beloved college student, worker, helper, all the things. When we were on the phone with her a few weeks ago, helping her understand like who we are and what we're about, I remember saying, oh yeah, and we've also got this Bible verse that is the foundation for who we are. But it was also like late in the day, I'm tired, couldn't come up with the address. I was like, it's Proverbs 24 or something. And then you chimed in the background. You're like, I think it's Proverbs 16:24. And I was like, yeah, it's that one.
We know what it says.
We know what it says. And what does it say, Angela?
Kind words are like honey.
Mm.
Okay, now what? Sweet.
Healing. That.
Sweet to the soul and healing to the bones.
Yes.
There's so many translations that I love. I blend them all together.
Yeah.
So,
but kind words are healing to the bones.
And soothing in a loud, mean world.
Yes.
Life-giving.
Yeah. And so I think that it's important for us to remind ourselves every single week, or as much as we can, the value of that verse and maybe how it's playing itself out in our lives day to day or week to week.
You know what that makes me think of, and we'll talk about this in a minute, I'm sure, with the social media fast that we did this summer. But whatever words are in my heart, in my mouth, on my mind, the first 5 minutes of the day will make or break my whole entire day.
Right.
If I wake up and turn on a worship song while I get my caffeine versus I'm on my phone and I'm seeing something, I've already gotten caught up on 10 people's lives that are in the dumpster and I don't even know them well. And now I'm reading all their updates. And why am I doing that before I'm ready?
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. We're just it's literally not just a new podcast season, but it's a new season for us as people.
A new mindset.
Yeah.
Or a renewed mindset. And we're inviting you all along.
And we're inviting you in. So it's super fun. Yay. Welcome. Welcome to the show, everyone. We're glad that you're here. Okay. So yes, let's just tell everybody what we did this summer. We're not going to elaborate on anything because that's going to come out in different ways over different episodes. We don't want to do an entire episode on a summer recap because
we'll just give y'all little pieces because there's going to be a lot to tell as it all unfolds.
Yeah. Okay. You go first. What do you want to share?
Well, in June, I took a week when Cole was in the state tournament in Nashville, and we had an Airbnb, and I actually had some downtime for my brain to breathe and rest and think, and I treated that as a little mini spiritual retreat. And when I came out of that week, I had discovered Edie Wadsworth. If you're not following her, she's phenomenal. Christian female life coach, very encouraging. Helped me just pause. And she talks about having joy and energy and purpose in what we're doing and just thinking about what we're thinking about. Nothing brand new, but a lot of things that I'd just not been intentional with. And through listening to some of her teaching, I wound up with, I had been in denial over the fact that I needed to get back into some therapy for myself. And now I have a therapist who is a Christian who, and we'll talk about this, I'm sure, in future episodes, but splankna is a new word to me. Probably you too. Splankna, I think, splankna. Anyway, long story short, it is theologically sound. It is a therapy that has been life-changing already for me. In addition to, I have a life coach now who is a lawyer, who is a woman who's helping me a lot with some changes and exciting things in my career. So I did not expect any of those things to happen this summer, but I knew that I was being nudged toward getting healthier, and I did not want to do it. It's so much easier to just
keep going.
I'm addicted to chaos. I love to stay busy. I love to not have time to think about what I'm thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I do just want to say I'm proud of and terrified of what I'm stepping into, but I'm healing. I'm doing some hard work and some healing, and I can promise y'all we'll be talking about some of that as the season unfolds. But that was a lot of work that I did. And then July, when we came off social media, I focused on just, okay, where do I want fun and joy and just truly have a time out with my family? And we had several trips that had been planned in July, and Cole Snyder turned 17 and wanted a trip instead of a party. And this mama who loves to travel could not have been happier with that. We went back to Jackson Hole. And the highlight of that for me was a hike that we took that was 7 miles. And the Snyder family, we are not hikers by nature. That was a whole adventure and experience, and a lot I could say about that. We did see a moose and her baby. It was really sweet. But we survived a hike. And then also the rodeo at the legendary Teton County Fair was that week. And we were so excited. And then we found out it was sold out. And I impressed my family by talking our way into the sold out rodeo without tickets. And it was so much fun. We saw real cowboys at a real rodeo. Mm-hmm. And that was a summer highlight.
I love it.
The cowboys we have around here are not exactly
they're
authentic.
not. No. I mean, they're fine. Where have I seen a cowboy in Jackson, Tennessee? Let me just stop right there.
Well, we saw some in Jackson, Wyoming.
Yeah. I don't know that I would know a cowboy in West Tennessee versus somebody that's just got on jeans, boots, and a cowboy hat.
Well, more impressive than the cowboys, there were some cowgirls.
Yeah, listen.
Specifically, there was one
Next
who looked
level.
about 9 or 10 years old, and she could barrel race in a way that, Kaylee and I just jumped out of our shoes. We were so excited.
Like, that's
for
real.
her.
She's doing that. This is not a movie on the big screen.
Real life.
Real life.
So,
yeah. I don't recall the month of June. I did go to Oregon the first week of June with work to a conference. And I've never been to Oregon before and fell in love with the beauty of that state. And we were not on the coast, but we traveled to see the coast. And I think the Pacific coast is absolutely insane gorgeous. It makes the Gulf of Mexico look like a teeny tiny baby in its volume and its power. And so the Oregon was absolutely incredible. That was a lot of fun. And the weather there, I understand why people want to live in the Pacific Northwest, because it's just gorgeous all the time. So that was super great. July, yes, the social media fast, which we're going to talk about in just a second, but there were 2 trips. We had a family trip to the beach the 1st of July, and that was fun. But y'all, it was hotter than hot down there on the Gulf Coast. I just remember the 4th of July. That was the last day. We came home on July 5th thinking, I'm going to literally melt into a puddle right here on this concrete because it was so hot. But that's the way it goes, everyone. But it was a great time. Our kids are older, and Clay, our oldest, doesn't live here, and he's established his own work schedule and his own life. And so getting all of us together is so rare, even on holidays, because of his work schedule. And he works for an airline. They never close. So he doesn't always necessarily have the luxury of, you're going to be off Christmas Eve and Christmas Day or Thanksgiving time that everybody else is.
That's hard.
It is hard. So the fact that he was able to take off and we were all able to be together, and Emma came with us, Tyler's girlfriend. And so it's just such a sweet, sweet time of me also not being on my phone and just deeply appreciating the moment that we had together. So loved that. And then went on a mission trip back with our church, Fellowship Bible Church, went to the Dominican. We partner with Mission of Hope there, and that is one of the best organizations, systems that I've ever been a part of.
That's a strong statement.
It is.
You've been experienced with mission trips
Yes.
and groups. And
Yes. And here's what's so great about that. And I know that we'll talk more about this later, but I was able to have a conversation with her name's Vanessa Johnson, Vanessa and Brad Johnson. They just said a yes back in 1997 or 1998. And that is what began what I see now as Mission of Hope. And so they live in the Dominican now. Home has been in Texas for them, but they live in the Dominican on the property site. And so I was able to have a conversation with her one night and really reflecting on people's yeses. And so when they said yes, all those years ago, would have never dreamed that what I get to benefit from now would have been the case, because you don't know. You just say yes and you have no idea what the Lord's going to do next. But it was just a really sweet, encouraging conversation, and to think about what am I saying yes to now? What are you saying yes to? And not for the sole purpose of somebody's going to benefit from that, but more than likely, if it is something that the Lord is giving you, then there's going to be fruit and people will benefit. They will be able to grab a hold of that fruit years and years later. So I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about your yes and what is it that the Lord is asking you to do. So those are two and the Oregon trip. Those are 3 significant events of the summer, and you're just like that, everybody, it's over.
So fast. I do want to give a shout out to where we stayed at the beach. Dr. Dub and Susie have the most fabulous condo. Mm-hmm. Very affordable.
I'm saying, like I've seen it. I haven't been there.
3-bedroom. It was perfect for our family. And our family includes Cole's best friend, and Lydia and Atlas and Kaylee had a room, and Cole and Drake and Matthew, Kaylee's boyfriend. Like, everybody fit. Aww, everybody had plenty of space.
I love that.
And it was, I texted Dr. Dub and Susie when we were there and just said, I can tell in my heart that this is a place where I can find some peace and some healing that I need. And it was so beautiful and not super crowded, and just the perfect setting for what began my summer of taking some big steps. Yeah. And that just became a really, the beach. There's just something about the water in the mountains anyway. So
calming.
But if you just need a sweet, safe place to go, highly recommend. I hope we can go back there.
Yeah. Let us know if you want more information, and we can hook you up. Or actually, we could just
we can link it.
We can link it in the show notes.
It's so easy to book.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about the social media fast, because that has been such a big deal. And
how interesting is it to go on these vacations, and then part of social media is like, I need to document this so it'll pop back up in my memories later, and so my family and friends that want to keep up with us can see what we're doing. And then it was like, oh, but I'm not on social media right now.
Yeah, I love to post stories on Instagram in real time, like as things are happening. As I see something, I'm like, oh, that's so pretty, or I want to take that picture and I want to share it. And so to not be able to do that, I was like, oh, but I got to take the picture though, so that I have it for later.
It's like a little blog or a diary. And it's like, oh, well, now we're not doing that.
I think too, moving forward, what I'd love to do is, because it's just, y'all, we can survive without it for sure. But I'd love to take January off and July off.
Somebody said the months that begin with J.
I'm not interested in June and July.
I'm not either. I think one of those will be just fine. Thanks.
But I like the first of the year, just having that mental reset, and then the halfway point, whether that's June or July.
It's before we start the academic year.
So I encourage you to consider that. And I know that we talk about these things a lot. And when we share our own experience with this, I don't this is not going to be something revolutionary, but I hope that you hear us say things with just a deeper understanding of who we are, who we were, who we are now, how the Lord revealed himself to us, because I don't know why you wouldn't want to step into that space.
And several of you all commented on our post and said, I've been thinking about this anyway. Maybe this is my sign to do it. So I'm curious to hear from people who have done or want to do this and how it impacted y'all too, because it really has been significant for both of us this summer.
Here, I'm going to just bullet point read this, and then we're going to unpack it together separately, however this plays itself out. But I didn't date this, so darn, I have no idea how early this was in July. But here were some immediate observations that I made. And again, if I remember correctly, I bet that this was early on in the month, as almost like you're going through detox and you're like, okay, well.
I will tell you this. I have a July 1st entry of all the things that I noticed.
That you noticed? Yeah. And I have a feeling
I don't have another day. Like that was my one day.
Yeah. This is like our detox. Okay. So I had a little journal too that I ended up calling my July journal, where I just wrote down a lot of things, which ended up being really sweet to go back and look through. But okay, here we go. I'm just going to rattle these off quickly. And then Angela, you can do with this. You can start talking after that, because I'm sure not going to unpack all of this.
Love it.
But I think that everybody can relate. Okay. All right, here we go. Number 1. Now that there is no social media in my brain, I have so much space in my brain that I recognize is actual space. Number 2, my body and my mind feel less cluttered, crowded. I am more calm and steady. Number 3, I notice that I turn to social media when I'm bored, stressed, or avoiding something. Number 4, I feel like I am more focused. I notice things around me, even my own thoughts. Number 5, I can listen, pay attention when I'm in conversation or reading something. Clarity is something that seems very sharp and understood, whatever it is I'm thinking about. I've lost track of my number, so I don't know what number I'm on. Let's say 7. I don't know what is going on. Oh, this is fascinating and not anything new. I don't know what is going on in the world right now, but I don't feel like I miss knowing every little thing. And then finally, on a practical level, I'm cleaning up my followers and people who do not consistently encourage me. I'm unfollowing people that consistently make me feel anything negative in any sense of the way.
Oh, that's so good. I'm going to read off just a few things that I jotted down, and then I want us to unpack this a little bit.
Okay.
Because we have some very similar things and a little bit different too. And again, I just have day 1, and then I was like, okay, that's
detox
good.
Was hard.
Now my brain's just going to go be free of making lists and things.
Yeah.
Okay, so day 1, I wrote down picking up my phone and then relief when I see the timer, because I had that timer that when I went to click on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, I was locked out. And you can override it, but I was really good about going, I would drop it like a hot potato. I was like, oh, wait, I'm not supposed to be on Facebook right now. What else am I going to do instead? And it was interesting that I didn't feel deprived. I felt relieved. Like, oh, good.
Yes.
I'm not. And then it was weird because I have worked really hard to have a business presence with my attorney page. And I did have to check some notifications. And also we were trying to sublease Kaylee's apartment in Birmingham and not pay double rent until November 1st. And that was through a Facebook page. So I would have to get on periodically. But instead of feeling like, oh, good, I'm here, I can just cheat and look around, I could not wait to get out of there.
Right.
There was just something so liberating about, and it was just, I'm a grown woman. Like, it's not like I can't do it. It was just interesting how it felt. And then I felt like I had more brain capacity to think about texting and calling. There were several times when I set my phone down and either through prayer or reading a scripture or whatever I was doing, a person came to mind, a circumstance came to mind, and then I would send whatever I had seen or focused on instead of social media several times became the thing that I could hand off to somebody struggling in a situation. And they texted me back and said, that is the exact thing I needed to hear. And if I had just been doom scrolling on social media, I would have completely missed being part of that moment. So I thought that was interesting. And then, I told you this earlier, but I signed up for masterclass.
Yeah.
And I watched a Joanna Gaines masterclass on decorating instead of scrolling through Facebook for decorating ideas. And I thought, oh, well, while I'm a masterclass subscriber, now I can learn about all kinds of things. And then I did not miss the news at all. There were some horrible things that happened in the world. And I'm, of course, tender to that, but I did not want to be consumed with all of that all over my news feed all the time. I felt protected from that. And then I found on YouTube, there's several of these, but you can listen to prayer and verses to fall asleep. And YouTube kind of became my filler when I just needed something to occupy my space. So I've stopped watching TV in our bedroom and started listening to calming things, and I'm sleeping so much better. And then in the middle of all this, I heard a really great sermon about burning the ships in Hebrews 11. And that has been so on my mind. And we can get into this in another episode. I'm sure this is going to keep coming back up. But burning the ships is basically the concept of removing the option to go back. And there's a whole story about it and the context it was in. But basically, it's about surrendering. You know, if you burn the ship that's behind you, you have to either sink or swim. You have to either go forward and either win the war or become defeated, but you're not going to go back to your old way.
Right.
And there's a For King and Country song, Burn the Ships. And that concept has defined my summer as I think about these things. Not that social media is evil and I won't be back participating in it, but there's so much that I feel free of that I don't want to go back to, if that makes sense.
Well, and figuring out your boundaries with it, because when you've gone completely without it, I can remember being at the beach on vacation that first week, the first week of the fast. We were on a trip. And I read not that week, but I've read a book. Like I had space to read because there was no other option. I couldn't sit and scroll on my phone. But then I found myself one day, I needed to, I was going to Google something. I can't remember. And I realized that every time I went to Google, it was like a whole new news feed of information. And so I was like, oh, well, I can kind of like scroll here and see like, what's the baseball score? What's the weather like in Chicago? Like whatever was on my particular page, I just thought, this is fascinating. So it was just interesting. Like that was just another way to get information that I wasn't asking for.
And what are we, like, is it the connection aspect that we're longing for?
No, for me, I'm going to go back to when I go to my phone, I'm bored, stressed, or avoiding something. And so that was very easy for me to identify. So instead of like maybe not doing anything, like literally just sitting in my thoughts, there's a time and a place for that. And I remembered that Sydney Whitaker told me that when she was telling me about her giving up social media for 6 months, she gave it up and has just now started to find her way back into it. But she said, you're going to find that you just have time to think about whatever it is you want to think about.
When does the last time we let our brains just be bored?
Yeah. Yeah, you either can either have nothing going on or you get to choose what you think about, but you're not letting a device tell you what you want to think about when you didn't ask for that.
And the second my brain feels like it has nothing to do, I feel like I have to immediately figure out something it can do.
Yeah, we're bored.
I guess that's the bored.
Yeah, and I think it's just
so unhealthy.
It is so unhealthy. And it just kind of made me sad, like, oh my word. Are we that desperate for that informational hit, that spike in dopamine that hits our brain over something stupid. Like we didn't, or not even stupid, but I didn't ask for that.
It doesn't add value. It's not something
And
we were looking for.
It could if you're like, I'm going to go, watch this one YouTube video that's a teaching, but then all of a sudden off to the side and below are all these other videos. I didn't ask for those. Do I want to go now watch that because it was on my page? Like, it's just so interesting of when you are paying attention to what you're digesting, it's because you chose that.
Are we proactive or are we reactive?
And
because when I'm reading about somebody's third wife's scavenger hunt,
why am I doing that?
Who are these people?
I don't care.
I don't care. So why am I investing more time in that?
I just found it fascinating how empty my brain could be when it's not being inundated with information that I didn't ask for.
That's not a familiar feeling to us anymore.
No, and that makes me...
We used to be bored.
Yeah, that
Riding
makes...
in the car, we used to look out the window and be bored.
It just makes me... It's interesting, but it also makes me sad. But just the clarity of I want to think about this chapter that I read in scripture this morning. I want to consider what that said and write it down and journal it.
Meditate on it.
And to truly think about the things that matter. We'll come back to this in another episode, but I had somebody ask me a very interesting question at the end of our mission trip. And that question was knowing, I was the next to the oldest on the trip. And so you don't get to be our age without some really decent perspective on some things. And so they asked me the question, Fran, if you could offer advice to the church, and that could be Big C, Little C church, what would it be?
I cannot wait to hear your answer to this.
So some of this does tie into social media, but I don't know that I could have. I'd be interested to know if my answer would have been different, which I know it would have been, because some of my answer was fueled from a real burden and concern that I have for the next generation growing up in a social media world. So I don't know how my answer would have been differently if I had not been in this social media fast. So
it's fascinating.
It is. It absolutely is fascinating.
It's so fascinating. Well, what do you see moving forward for you? What is healthy?
Boundaries. Boundaries.
What does that mean?
I know, well, it's going to start with the followers. People that when I choose to go to Instagram, I'm going to decide who's on my feed. And also, I've gone through the people that I follow, and I've unfollowed a lot of people, and I'm sure they're great and well-meaning, and they're probably Christians.
That's important to know too. It's not like they're
not
people.
Terrible. It's just that.
But how do they make you feel?
Yeah. Well, and if I didn't personally connect with you through a book or a sermon, or I have some consistent history with you, then I don't really need to be following you.
And are they trustworthy voices?
Right.
Not we've got to be careful what their theology is and what their...
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with that. And I've already started that process of unfollowing. And so I was telling you a minute ago, it's kind of not, it's just interesting, people that you followed and they have a private account and you go to unfollow them, and then it says, that you're going to have to request to follow so-and-so if you choose to follow them. I'm like, that's fine. I'm not going to follow them again. I'm not going to follow them again. So practically it is choosing who is taking up mental space. Because if I'm truly not invested and know you super well, then I don't know where you fit. Because then my time boundary steps in, and I know myself in a particular situation, how much, like, what's my motive? Why did I pick up my phone and start scrolling? If I'm doing that at a red light, that's terrible. If I'm doing that and like I'm sitting in a doctor's office waiting, well, that's different. There's nothing for me to read or whatever. I don't know. Then I want to make sure that who's ever taken up my mental space and that physical space on Instagram, I want to make sure that those are people that are healthy for me.
That's good stewardship.
Yeah, it is good stewardship.
Time is a resource.
But I know when I'm doing it for the wrong reason, and I know when I've pushed my time limit. And I think that you're the only one. I think everybody is very different in that. I don't necessarily want you get 6 minutes a day. Like, that's not going to work for me. I feel like I get to choose. I feel like I've got the maturity to choose like how much and when.
Right.
And so I know when I'm crossing that line. But I do hope that that reaction, that need to pick up my phone is not there as much. So I don't feel like when there is a little bit of boredom, I'm not reaching for that phone. And if I start to see that creeping back in, then I know, okay, hold on a minute. We need to make an adjustment here. Realignment. And then the other practical thing that I'm going to do, and this has been so helpful, and it's, August, and I do not plan on changing this. And thank you, Dr. Dub, for this. And that is, there's no notifications. I have no notifications, so I have to go and open up the app. And I appreciate not getting those notifications. I also found that so fascinating early on in July when, I'm not getting any notifications because...
Is this thing on?
Yeah, is this thing on? No joke, because it was all social media.
Yeah.
Now, my text messages and, my work email, like that's still coming through.
Yeah.
I don't have any boundary issues with that, but social media, oh, Lord.
It's generally not texting our family that's going to take us down this rabbit hole.
Right.
It's usually
Right.
And that's what I learned the most, I think, that I'll carry forward. And I may have talked about this before, but I do have a strict timer where my social media and most things on my phone are off limits from 6 a.m. until 9 a.m. And that way, if I get up at 5:30 and I feel like I need to check something, fine. I really don't need to. But between 6 and 9, it's get up, quiet time, move your body, get ready for work, go to work, start your day, and then later on in the day. But personally, I have to have that boundary because I will think, oh, I'll just get on here a few minutes.
Right.
And then an hour has gone by and I'm late for work and I have not exercised and I've not had time with the Lord and none of that. So just to not derail. My personality is just so different. I have to have that.
I'm proud of people if they can open up. I know you're out there. I know they exist. It's probably you, Dr. Dub.
Very disciplined.
Disciplined.
A focused mind.
Yeah, but like I'm not that person. I can't open up a social media app for 2 minutes. It's going to
lead to 32 different side searches.
Yes, and that's where I'm not good. So,
well, and the goal of all of this is to not miss what the Lord's doing.
That's right.
And be part of.
That's right.
Peace. And I reminded myself, and then I told you, I was like, oh my goodness, I forgot my one word in January. Y'all may remember, you may not, but I talked about it on this podcast because my one word that I chose was peace and remaining calm and peaceful in difficult situations. And I have felt so peaceful. I even wrote in my journal a deep sense of God's control in my life. And that, this may be a good place to wrap it all up, but just God commands us to seek peace. The Lord blesses us with peace. And then when we take that peace and throw it out the window and start getting worked up over all these things that were never ours to even know about or carry around, we are sabotaging the beautiful gift of peace that supernaturally is available to us. And He will keep our minds in perfect peace if we just stay focused on Him.
And I think that if you listen to this show and you know who we are, if you're a follower of Christ, you don't want to miss what the Lord has for you.
Mm-hmm.
We sure don't. I sure don't.
So exciting.
It is so exciting. And the fact that we allow social media and our phones to control us and tell us how to use our time and what we take into our mind, I think is just so, so very sad. And so I think that as you start this new academic year, this new season for you, wherever you are in your life journey, wherever you are, I think that it's just worth considering who and what is in my life, because I don't want to miss what the Lord has for me. We've said this in different ways. You've heard this said in different ways, is I don't think we're going to get to heaven and the Lord be like, man, I'm so proud of you. You spent so much time scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go, good and faithful servant. That's not it. It's just not it. And it's very, very convicting and very humbling. And so we want to spend more time in God's word. We want to wrestle things out. We want to learn. We want to grow. We want to eat meat and not little bite-sized little baby nuggets and think that that's going to sustain us and change us and make a difference in the world around us. And so I don't know. I think this new season of Rambling Through Everyday Life is going to be it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to share our own journeys along the way. We've got lots of exciting, fun things in our personal lives coming up. Yes, new things that
Adventures.
We cannot wait to share. But we just felt like in order to start this season, this was a really sweet place to start. So anyway,
y'all send us updates. It's been a while. We need to hear from each and every one of you.
Listen, and two, like, it's so tempting to get back on your phone and be like, I need to go see what so-and-so did. I need to go see what so-and-so did. And I'm just letting, you know what, if that falls into my feed and I see it, great, because I have no discipline, y'all. So if I didn't
speak that over yourself.
If I did not wish you a happy birthday or comment on your family's precious darling photo in the month of July, please know
we just didn't see it.
I just didn't see it. Maybe the Lord will surface it in the right way, in the right time. Okay, what else? Anything else, Angela, that we want to say before we say farewell? We'll see you next time.
Y'all just get ready, because we got all kinds of fun things to tell you next time.
Yeah.
Or the next time.
And the next time. And the next time.
We're glad to be back. We've missed y'all.
It's a whole new season right here on Rambling Through Everyday Life. Y'all, we love you so much. Hope you have had the best summer and are excited for what the Lord is doing or wanting to do in your life. All right, you guys, we'll see you next time. Y'all have a fantastic day. We want to bring you joy, nuggets of truth to consider, encourage you as you go about your everyday life, while providing a community of women here through our guests and our conversations that always grow us closer to the Lord and one another. All right, remember Proverbs 16:24 says, kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body. All right, we'll see you girls. Let's live our everyday lives together with the Lord. See you next time.